Welcome to everyone. I greet you in the name of the risen Christ. I am the Reverend Stephen Stine, the deacon at Christ Episcopal Church in Tyler, Texas. We're continuing with our clergy led adult Christian formation Sunday school lessons on the letter to the Hebrews. And today is August 16th. And we are in the 11th Sunday after Pentecost. And we're up to chapter 12, verses 18 to 29. Chapter 12, verses 18 to 29 of the letter to the Hebrews. And this section is often referred to, described as a kingdom that cannot be shaken. That is the theme of this section. So what I will do is read a section and then offer an explication on it and go through this section of the letter to the Hebrews. Chapter 12, beginning at verse 18. You have not come to something that can be touched, a blazing fire, and darkness and gloom, and a tempest, and the sound of a trumpet, and a voice whose words made the hearers beg that not another word be spoken to them, for they could not endure the order that was given. If even an animal touches the mountain, it shall be stoned to death. Indeed, so terrifying was the sight that Moses said, I tremble with fear. Remember that the letter to the Hebrews, the epistle to the Hebrews, is directed at people who would understand exactly what these passages mean. These would have been people steeped in the Hebraic tradition. They would have been very familiar with the Pentateuch and the prophets of the old, what we call the Old Testament of the Hebrew Bible. They would have understood that the writer of Hebrews is instructing them to understand that they are dealing with a new sign of God's presence, and that new sign is not a physical sign. There have been physical signs before. The burning bush, there's a reference to that. The trumpets appear frequently in the Old Testament. The trumpets that sounded, that brought down the walls of Jericho, which was mentioned previously in this letter. The Mount Zion, a place of Mount Sinai, a place of great wonder. Uh, these are all signs of the power of God, but they're physical signs. They are things that can be touched. And the writer of Hebrews is saying, we are looking now at something that cannot necessarily be touched, but is no less real. It is no less valuable. It is no less important. And in fact, it's the value of this new sign, that is the sign of the Messiah, the Christ, is far more valuable than anything tangible, that the intangible outweighs the tangible. The reading continues at verse 22. But you have come to Mount Zion and to the city of the living God, the heavenly Jerusalem, and to innumerable angels in festal gathering, and to the assembly of the firstborn who are enrolled in heaven, and to God, the judge of all, and to the spirits of the righteous made perfect, and to Jesus, the mediator of a new covenant, and to the sprinkled blood that speaks a better word than the blood of Abel. Again, we're looking at more references to the Hebrew Bible, but in a different way. Jerusalem, of course, was the center through the temple and through the second temple, and then through the remnants of the temple, was seen as, after 70 AD, as the place of centrality for the Hebrew faith. But Jesus has instituted a new Jerusalem, a heavenly Jerusalem, a place not yet seen, but still real. And it is to the heavenly Jerusalem that the disciples of Jesus, in fulfillment of the law and in fulfillment of the prophets, will guide us and will take us. And we also come to a Mount Zion, which is a greater place than Mount Sinai, as wondrous, as awe-inspiring, as awesome as Mount Sinai was. Mount Zion is a place of even greater significance, even greater power for those who believe in Jesus, the Messiah, the fulfillment of the prophecies. And so this is the heavenly Jerusalem is the city of the living God. Again, not a place that can be physically visited, at least on this side of the kingdom of God, but a place that very much exists, a place that is very powerful. And it is the place where innumerable angels in festal gathering and the assembly of the firstborn in the spirit, not necessarily firstborn as in sibling order, but firstborn in the spirit. And being firstborn in the spirit is available to anyone who accepts Jesus as the Christ, who believes that Jesus is the Son of God, that Jesus is here to redeem the world, and he is here to bring eternal salvation. So these are the people, the firstborn, who will be enrolled in heaven. And this parallels with the revelation to John, the descriptions of the revelation to John of what the heavenly city, the new Jerusalem, will appear. And in this heavenly city, God is the judge of all. God is the judge of everyone, all humanity, whether believers or not. And this is also the place in which we will see Jesus, because Jesus is the mediator of the new covenant between God and humanity, and he is the mediator of a covenant which is far stronger than any covenant that has been established before. Now, this does not mean that the previous covenants, and there's an allusion here to the covenant created by the blood of Abel, and then we can also see the blood of the firstborn shed in Egypt in order to force Pharaoh to let the Israelites leave Egypt. We can see this does not mean that those covenants no longer are in place, but this means that a new covenant, a new relationship between God and humanity has been created by Jesus, and Jesus is the mediator of this great covenant. Resuming with our reading, verse 25, see that you do not refuse the one who is speaking. For if they did not escape when they refused the one who warned them on earth, how much less will we escape if we reject the one who warns from heaven? At that time, his voice shook the earth, but now he has promised, yet once more, I will shake not only the earth, but also the heaven. Now, this again is a reference to the Old Testament. This is again a reference to the Hebrew Bible. And it is a warning to us that if we do not heed all the messages that God is sending to us on this side of the kingdom of heaven, then how can we expect to see it in the near presence of God? In other words, we see signs of this coming city of Jerusalem, this new heavenly Jerusalem. We see signs of this new covenant being fully completed at the end of time, or at the great summoning of all people. But we should not ignore the signs that we have now, and they are plenteous, just as the signs of the Old Testament were plenteous, so the signs of the new covenant. This is the argument of the writer of the letter to the Hebrews, is that this new covenant has superseded the old covenant. The old covenant has not been replaced, but the new covenant is in place now, and it is greater than the old covenant. And the signs are all around that this new covenant has come into effect. And we conclude with this section, starting at verse 27 of chapter 12. This phrase, yet once more, indicates the removal of what is shaken, that is, created things, so that what cannot be shaken may remain. Therefore, since we are receiving a kingdom that cannot be shaken, the theme of this section, let us give thanks by which we offer to God an acceptable worship with reverence and awe, for indeed our God is a consuming fire. Yet once more indicates the removal of what is shaken. In other words, the kingdom that Jesus established in Orthodox thinking, beginning at Calvary, at his death, the kingdom that Jesus established is a kingdom which cannot be shaken. It cannot be moved. And all that can be shaken will be removed before the final consummation, before the final fulfillment of this kingdom. So all the extraneous, all the unimportant will fall away. In a sense, all the physical will fall away, and we will be left with an unshakable kingdom. And that is a kingdom of God's glory and of the new covenant created by Jesus. And we are receiving, verse 28, therefore, since we are receiving a kingdom that cannot be shaken, let us give thanks, by which we offer to God an acceptable worship with reverence and awe. There is no need for sacrifice. There is no need for any kind of oblations offered to God, any kind of alms offered to God, other than reverence and awe. And this passage ends with a very important line, for indeed our God is a consuming fire. That is a fire not of physical proportions, not like the burning bush or any other analogies in the other instances of a fire in the Old Testament, but a consuming fire, a fire that will so enwrap and engage us that we will be completely consumed into God's presence and will be completely consumed into discipleship. So we've come to the end of chapter 12, and I hope that this has been edifying to you. And as always, I leave you with the instructions from the Book of Common Prayer, the Episcopal Church. Go in peace to love and serve the Lord.